Welcome to Grip Grind Glory, where grapplers train with purpose and grow through the grind. And now, your host thought-provoker and fellow grinder, Anna Janovics.
Hi everyone and welcome back to Grip Grind Glory. This is episode 2 and today, as promised, I will talk about goal setting and how to stay motivated on and off the mat. Let's dive in. So, as most of you will now know, we've been working on a 6-week challenge launching in September. And as we started working on it, I tried to think of the ways we could support our community and sat down to list out all the things our lovely people might need to get where they'd like to be. I listed out quite a few things, and one of them was to set goals. But there's a caveat in saying set your goals, because it's not really about setting them, it's about setting the right ones and the whole thought process around it. And even more than that, you will want to stay motivated, or rather being able to motivate yourself when things get tough. And that's a whole process of self-reflection, which I wrote down and will be included in the program. And I'd like to give you a glimpse of it today and outline the main steps of it, how I personally do it. As the saying goes, we're all driven with the right goal in mind, but finding that right goal can be very challenging. The thing is that it's just not enough to join a program or a session and hope for the best, because being vague about your goal will only get you results like that, vague ones. Trainings will only get you as far as you want them to, and deciding what you want to achieve with them is the first step on the path of getting there. What usually goes wrong with goals is that, as I already said, they're vague, like getting fitter or winning or whatever. Then we also tend to set external goals, which means that we don't really have control over achieving them. Great example is to win. There's only 50% or less control over achieving that goal, because to win a fight, the very least you will need is another person to fight with. But if you're competing, there'll be a referee as well, and the list goes on. So your chances are shrinking and shrinking. And we also tend to set goals to prove something to others, which makes these goals ego-based. For example, I want to look like this and that. These goals are sometimes subconscious goals. When someone goes to the gym, for example, every single day because they'd like to stay healthy, I'm not saying every gym goer wants to prove something, but it's a good example of having an ego-based goal. No one is really getting any healthier by being in the gym 7 times a week. So instead of setting vague external or ego-based goals, let's see what we should do instead, or how we could approach the whole goal-setting idea. First of all, let's clarify your why. Set some time aside for yourself, sit down with a pen and paper and let your brain do the work for you. Listen to your inner voice, even when it says things you don't want to hear. Does it say you want to get fitter? That's pretty vague. Look deeper. Why do you want to get fitter? To lift 100? Why? Always ask why, and then listen until there's nothing else coming up. A great example from my own life is that in my 20s and 30s, I thought I just wanted to make more and more money. And that was my why. That's why I changed jobs as soon as I got a better offer than the current one, but it felt off after a while, and it started to kill me, this whole jumping around, not sticking with anything. So that's when I started my personal growth journey. And it took a surprisingly long time, sort of 6 years-ish, that I was able to part ways with this thinking and was open to explore what's beneath all this. And long story short, it's this whole I need more money, blah, blah, blah. It comes from my past. I'm not going to go into that. But after about 100 whys, I now know that my core value is actually freedom, and not necessarily financial freedom, but freedom in every single way. And that's what everything in my life is built around. Now, the realization of this was, and still is, a golden nugget for me. And the whole process was very enlightening because it makes my life so much smoother and happier. And now that I got into judo, I know that I'm doing it because I want to show myself that I can still do this, that I can give permission to myself, that I'm free to say yes to something I never imagined I would want to. I can now manage my thoughts so much better, so I am free to do whatever I want in my life because I can now be the best I've ever wanted to be. And that is, my friends, is a very liberating feeling. I trust my thought process, and just the way I can now say no to things I want to, I can also say yes to things I've never dared to, because I know I can nail whatever I want. Anyway, this is why your core value will be your motivation. It could be anything, but it has to resonate with you deeply. More on this in a couple of minutes. And hey, I understand if you think this is a bit far-fetched for a grip strength or explosiveness training program, but I'm sure you'll appreciate that it's the very essence of it, actually, and it'll help you on your whole journey through life and your training, your new lifestyle, everything. So I think this is the very first thing you need to nail down to achieve. Once you identified your why, this core value of yours, continue with setting your goal. Make it identity-driven. Decide for yourself who you want to become, holding your core value, not just what you want to do. When your goal is tied to identity, to this future self of yours, every action becomes a vote for this future self of yours. For me, it's being free in my decisions, so I am becoming someone who confidently says yes or no. And this mindset makes it easier to keep going even when it's hard. I'm not chasing results anymore, but pick and choose what's good for me and what isn't. I'm building a lifestyle where I'm free to say no or do something I want without looking for approval from anyone. This is freedom for me. This aligns very well with my core value. And you wouldn't believe how liberating it is to allow yourself to say no just for the sake of saying no. Amazing. But for you, it might be something else. Going back to the previous example, I'm becoming someone who trains with purpose 3 times a week. And this will just become your identity by time. And until then, every single hurdle you push through is a step closer, a vote for your future self. A good practice could be to sign a little contract with yourself at the start of a challenge you might be doing with us, or anything in your life. Something light like, I'm here to finish. I know there will be days I want to quit and I'm staying in anyway, or something like it. You sign it, date it, and put it on your wall, or put it in your wallet, or wherever you can just look at it when things get tough. What this does is that it activates identity-based behaviors, which is the most powerful motivator there is. Step number 3 is to anchor it emotionally. If a goal doesn't move you emotionally, it won't move you physically. Goals that matter tap into something personal, pride, healing, transformation, redemption, whatever it is for you. And you also have to feel the feeling, which will be easy if you can relate to it. This step will tell you actually whether the why and the identity you set out above are what your soul desires. If they're not, you go back and think again. If you can't feel it, it isn't. Try it. If it's safe for you now, close your eyes and see if you can feel it in your body when you think about achieving your goal. The feeling is what we're searching for. as human beings in general. I want to feel free. And so I don't even have to close my eyes to feel this feeling. I'm so used to it because I practice this visualization. Simply saying it gives me tingles in my stomach and usually my hands and neck. So I know that's what's coming. I feel it in my body. I can see stallions running wild and a stream running between mountains, a huge clearing, woods. That's what I feel and see when I hear freedom. It'll be something different for you, obviously. When I get an offer these days, this visualization and feeling is what I tap into. Does that thing give it to me? If it doesn't, it's a definite no. So it will be something similar for you as well. Going back to the previous example, if you want to live until 100 to see your children grow old, you might have a image in your head where you are 100 years old and you have 100 candles on your cake and your great grandchildren are running around you, and you know, and you have the feeling that I made it and I can still go out and play with them. And that's why I stayed in, BJJ or judo or whatever you're doing. And finally, a suggestion from me is that you break it down into bite-sized goals. If I want to nail a certain technique by the end of next month, what steps do I need to take? If I want to live until 100 healthy, what are the steps I'm going to take until then? Now, until 100, you might still have 60 years. So bite-sized chunks might be, I'm going to do this and that until 50 and then until 60 and blah, blah, blah. So it's a very exciting exercise to do because you get to dream a little bit and you let your thoughts run wild and give you ideas. What you might, for the technique, for example, you show up every single session you set out to show up on. Work on my grip 3 times a week, 20 minutes each time. Stretch 10 minutes after every session, whatever it is. But break it down. If it's a smaller goal, if it's a long-term goal, 60 years is long term, you know what you need to do. The thing with big goals is that they're very exciting, but our brain can't process them unless we show the way. Showing us the way will mean that we start understanding how to get there and therefore believing in it. This works really well when we know the steps. But what if I have a goal and I have no idea how I'll get there? Worry not, just get started. You have to take the leap and trust yourself that you'll find a way. But usually you will have some kind of ideas. And you will because you're actively looking for it. Your brain will come up with different ways. But for the sake of this exercise, to embrace our goals, we'll stay with achievable yet challenging goals. In the grip challenge, we measure your success by doing a dead hang at the start of the challenge and then after 6 weeks. And that hang seems so very easy, and technically it is. It's easy to carry out. That's why we chose it. What we encourage participants to do, though, is that they check their bottom line, aka day 0 result, and set themselves a goal that they think is seemingly impossible to achieve. Say you made it to 12 seconds, go for 30. That's 2.5 times your bottom line result, and see how far it'll get you. You see, you could also say 20, but where would the fun be? 6 weeks is a very long time if you're committed to your own growth. A lot can be achieved, and we will be there to support you every step of the way. You've got absolutely nothing to lose, but if you don't shoot for the stars, you're losing already because you won't ever learn how far you could have gotten. By the way, it's called failing ahead of time, but let's not go there. Let's try to be the best version of ourselves and see where the journey will take us. Once you shifted your mindset, as just mentioned, and have your goal blueprint, as in what exactly you're aiming for, why, who are you becoming in the process, and when will you check your progress. You just have to get committed and stay the course. Just, quote unquote, we'll check in with you on a weekly basis, but is that enough for you? Or do you want to check in with yourself, how you're doing at the end of every day? Decide what works for you right at the beginning of the program or before setting out on achieving your goal, and just stick with it. You might want to check in at least on a weekly basis so you can see what's working for you and what's not, and adjust your routine if needed. What has worked for me this week? What didn't work? Why did I slip up? How was I able to do so many more reps, etc. are very good conversation starters with your own self. Ask yourself the questions and answer them truly so you can honestly reflect on what's working and what isn't. Doing this kind of reflection consistently of the program as well will help you recognize patterns and interrupt self-sabotage, basically. It's called reflection for a reason. It's your mindset mirror. It reflects back to you everything your mind is doing to you, so you can reevaluate and change if needed, if you want to. Most of our limits really just live in our heads. I can't do this, I've never been able to do that, etc. But these are just stories we're telling ourselves. This is what neuroplasticity is about, that we are able to change no matter how long we've been carrying this baggage. So instead of saying something like, I've never been able to do that, so why start now? We could just say that I want to get there and I will find a way. And just trust yourself that you will, because I promise you, you will. And finally, finish what you started. Whatever happens, finish it, because closure matters. That's how you gain trust in yourself. Even if you didn't hit the exact goal, you've evolved in many different ways. Just to set a goal, especially a seemingly impossible goal, is a great achievement. Tell others about it, get committed to your word and set off, make it happen. Once you've finished, name that growth. What is it you achieved? Think of all the things. Don't laser focus on the particular area you worked on. Pat your back, build on it. It's time to set the next one and the next one and so on. It's a lifelong journey, one that never gets boring because there's no end to how many goals one can set for themselves. For me, it's super exciting, as you can probably tell, and we'll talk about resilience, how to keep going and get back up when life knocks you down, and other aspects of achieving them. But for now, I think this is plenty to take away and start working on. If you'd like to join us in the next challenge starting in September, please sign up on our website, www.gripgrindglory.com. We can't wait to see you there. It'll be a lot of fun working together and achieving a strong grip and stay our course when it gets hard. We've got a lot in the pipeline for you guys. Until then, I'd really like to hear from you, so please comment, drop me a line, give me a call, follow me on social, whatever works for you. Just let me know what you think. Let's start and keep going the conversations. And until then, be good, train well, and I'll see you next week. Let's grip, grind, glory.